Greetings, fellow detectives. Wizard Kitten here, bringing you a new Nancy Drew analysis video. Today's video was brought to you by the patrons over at Mystique Manor and by all the official Fellow Detective channel members. If you too would like to support the channel and gain access to exclusive features, check out patreon.com/wizardkitten to become a patron, or click join next to the subscribe button to become an official fellow detective. I love the mystery genre for many reasons, but perhaps mostly because mystery plots have to be so intricately structured and written to be successful. I deeply appreciate the artistry of a good mystery plot. Clues need to be scattered throughout without being too obvious. Each suspect should be suspicious without their motives being contrived. Conversations should reveal just enough information without becoming exposition dumps. There is a lot that needs to be done right in order for a mystery to truly succeed. One important element of a strong mystery plot are the plot twists. These are moments in the story that are surprising and drastically change the reader, viewer, or player's assumptions and theories regarding the mystery. When done well, plot twists change our entire perspective on what could be happening in a mystery and who could be responsible. The key here is that the plot twists shouldn't just come out of the blue. They should be reasonable, and even though a detective might be surprised at the reveal, they should also be able to follow the breadcrumbs and understand the logic behind the plot twist. So enter this video, where I will rank my top 10 favorite plot twists in the Nancy Drew series. I've more or less avoided culprit plot twists since those are kind of inherent in every mystery. I'm primarily focusing on plot twists within the course of the mystery. That being said, many of the plot twists discussed in this video will reveal spoilers for the following games. You have been warned. And so, without further ado, let's get started with number 10. Mary Ozzie and Tex Britton are dating in secret of Shadow Ranch. This plot twist ranks lower on the list because it doesn't drastically change the mystery of the glowing ghost horse, but it does pretty drastically change our perceptions of these two characters. Both of them seem reserved from the get-go, with Tex especially behaving rather cold and aloof. As the game continues, Nancy starts to uncover evidence that Mary keeps visiting the Raleigh's ranch, apparently without their knowledge. We see her horse there. She mysteriously finds a giant piece of petrified wood after saying how much she wants the Raleigh's land because of the petrified wood, and then finally we see her and Tex talking just outside the ranch. It definitely looks like they're in cahoots, up to something very suspicious. But Nancy employs the oldest detective trick in the book: lying. She tricks Mary Ozzie into revealing that she and Tex are in love. They wanted to keep it secret because Tex worried the Raleighs wouldn't approve. Seeing these two characters absolutely soften when they talk about each other is so sweet. It also immediately makes them less suspicious, even if it's just because we're enamored with their love story. Number 9. Jamila doesn't believe in the Anunnaki in Tomb of the Lost Queen. Similar to number 10, this plot twist doesn't too drastically change the actual mystery, but it completely changes how we think about Jamila and what role she may be playing in the case. From the moment we meet Jamila, she seems like the Anunnaki's biggest fan. She plays her part so well that basically everyone at the dig site is convinced she's crazy, and Abdullah even screams at her to leave. But she's determined, and it isn't until later in the game that we find out why. After receiving a tip, Nancy can dig a little deeper into Jamila's bag and find clues suggesting she isn't who she says. We can also find a letter amongst Abdullah's possessions from Sunny June, yes, the Sunny June, confirming that Jamila isn't a member of his spied organization. When we confront Jamila, we learn her dedication to the Anunnaki was all just an act, and that she's actually at the tomb to try and catch Abdullah in the act of black market dealings. It turns out that Nancy is lucky to have Jamila on her side because the mystery would be impossible to solve without Jamila's aid and intel. Number 8, Dexter Egan grew up at Wickford Castle and was Ezra Wickford's adopted son in Treasure in the Royal Tower. This is a crucial plot twist and one that changes how Nancy goes about solving the mystery. When we first meet Dexter, he simply seems like a gruff caretaker. After finding the secret room in the library, we learn that he is so much more. He is still a gruff caretaker, but he's also the adopted son of Ezra Wickford and therefore has intimate knowledge of the castle and its secret passages. In an instant, Nancy gains a confidant with insider information, which ultimately makes solving the mystery a possibility. It also adds such a layer of depth to Dexter's character, ultimately making him one of the best characters in the entire series. Number 7, Lucas pranks everyone as the monster in The Captive Curse. This might not seem like a crucial plot twist at first, but it's all the events surrounding Lucas's prank that really make this plot twist stand out. Lucas is known for being a prankster around Castle Finster, but about halfway through the game, Lucas seems to be planning his biggest prank yet. Nancy finds some mysterious stilts in the foyer, and later on we get an alert that the monster has been sighted inside the castle. This is super freaky, and Nancy starts tailing the monster to find where it went. When she discovers the monster, it falls over and the mask falls off, revealing Lucas. While Nancy is chewing him out for dressing up as the monster, the real monster shows up outside the window. This is the plot twist. It stops, pauses, sees Nancy and Lucas, and threateningly smashes its hand on the glass before walking off. This moment has huge repercussions. 1, it makes the monster seem very real since we see it at the same time as another person. 2, we know it isn't Lucas. 3, the story spirals out of control as Carl seems prepared to blame Lucas and send Nancy away. She then has to find photographic evidence of the monster elsewhere. This plot twist turns the monster from a scary theory into something very real, which definitely shakes up the plot. Number 6, Ryan wasn't the murderer in The Deadly Device. This is a pretty big deal considering the whole reason Nancy was brought in for this mystery was to prove Ryan's guilt. This is also why I don't rank this plot twist as highly on the list, because it's kind of obvious that Ryan wouldn't be the murderer if the whole mystery starts with that assumption. The game pretty much has to twist in order for things to stay interesting, and boy do they. Once we find out Ryan is innocent, a whole cascade of wild things happen and the mystery changes drastically. Now, instead of a fairly clear-cut case, the mystery turns into a dangerous search for a killer while we're trapped in the building with them. But at least we know someone is on our side for the rest of the case. Number 5, Jessalyn Thornton kidnapped herself in Ghost of Thornton Hall. Just like number 6, this plot twist changes our entire focus for the remainder of the game. Nancy arrives at Thornton Hall on the pretense that Jessalyn is missing, and most likely not of her own accord. Everyone insists that Jessalyn wouldn't do this to her family. She wouldn't disappear on purpose and cause everyone so much stress. But, as it turns out, she would. Close to the end of the game, Nancy discovers that Jessalyn is perfectly safe because she kidnapped herself. After unexpectedly meeting Harper and learning that her own mother was responsible for Charlotte's death, Jessalyn insisted that she needed to separate from the family for a while and clear her head so she could decide how to approach her mother. Things quickly go downhill from this point on, but it's pretty shocking to spend a whole case thinking you're solving a kidnapping when really it was a cold case murder all along. Number 4. Brady Armstrong owns the Royal Palladium in the final scene. I love this plot twist because it doesn't have to do with the culprit, and yet it changes our perceptions so much at the end of the game. Nancy goes the entire game thinking that Brady Armstrong is just an opportunistic egomaniac who happened to be in the right place at the right time for a publicity stunt. While he is, in fact, an opportunistic egomaniac, his presence at the Royal Palladium was definitely not a coincidence. Brady inherited the historic theater, and his actual last name is Thompson. Armstrong is nothing but a stage name, but this tiny reveal has huge implications. 1, Brady is responsible for the theater demolition. 2. He could stop it if he wanted to, but he chooses not to. 3. Maya knew Brady owned the theater, and that's the whole reason she wanted to interview him. 4. Brady found out that Maya knew when he found her notebook, crucial evidence that he withheld to protect his image. This simple plot twist makes the ending of the final scene one of the most exhilarating in the whole series and further reinforces the sliminess of Brady Armstrong's character. Number 3. Bruno Beaulieu was murdered in Legend of the Crystal Skull. The way this plot twist comes about is so nuanced and exciting, which is why it ranks so highly on this list. Nancy arrives at Beaulieu Manor to console Henry Beaulieu, a school friend of Ned's, after his great-uncle Bruno's passing. Nancy learns that Bruno was quite old and died of a heart attack, all of which seems pretty legitimate. But why then was a masked skeleton man in the foyer? And what's with all these rumors about a crystal skull? Learning that Bruno Beaulieu owned the Whisperer is the first brilliant step in this plot twist, because as Professor Hotchkiss explains, the owner of the Whisperer cannot die of natural causes. We later learn that Beaulieu's crystal skull was, in fact, authentic, according to an appraiser. This can only mean one thing: Bruno was murdered? But how? By a fake letter informing him that the skull was a fake. Even if this murder was accidental, the culprit's ill intentions were enough to impress the Whisperer. This is such a fascinating revelation and really makes the ending all the more chilling. Number 2. Fiona Malloy is still alive in Haunting of Castle Malloy. This plot twist is incredible. Nancy arrives at Castle Malloy to be Kyler Malloy's bridesmaid in her wedding, but the groom is missing, and there's a terrifying banshee on the loose. Many have heard it screeching, and Nancy and Kyler even see the banshee up close and personal. It's pretty hard to ignore or logic away a ghostly flying woman screaming at you from a second-story window. There doesn't appear to be any logical explanation for the banshee, until Nancy finds a jetpack, the journal writings of Caitlin Malloy, a family tree with crows, and a birthday card for little Fiona Malloy in the bog hut. Then, bam, Fiona Malloy appears, sans jetpack, in the bog hut and shoves Nancy down a hole into the secret lab. The reveal that Fiona Malloy is not only still alive, but basically a banshee, is wild. It is so fascinating to think that she survived all this time and was practically raised by the crows on the moors. I mean, she was technically raised by a hermit, but close enough. Number 1. Rachel Hubbard is a twin in Warnings at Waverly Academy. I will maintain that this is the best plot twist in the Nancy Drew series until the end of my days. This plot twist is so brilliant and surprising. It may be cliche to do a twin reveal as a plot twist, but the creators of the Nancy Drew games executed it perfectly. They've only done it once, they waited until exactly the right moment to do it, and they set it up flawlessly. Throughout the game, everyone keeps ragging on Rachel, saying she's weird, schizo, Izzy's word, not mine, constantly forgets things, and seems incredibly flaky. We even notice this for ourselves when interacting with Rachel the second time. She doesn't seem to recognize us and is totally weirded out by us being in her room. And then there's the hair tucking thing. She only does it sometimes, but not others. How strange. Or is it? Because close to the end of the game, Nancy sees Rachel suspiciously wandering the halls with a tray of food. Nancy follows her up the stairs to her room and sees Rachel entering a secret passageway. Nancy solves the puzzle and ascends the secret passageway, only to meet, drumroll please, Kim Hubbard, Rachel's secret twin. The two are identical in every way, except for the hair-tucking quirk and their personalities. Apparently, they've kept this ruse up for years, which is why everyone thinks they're strange and flaky. It's hard to remember things when you only hear half of them. This plot twist also has major implications for the mystery because Rachel and Kim reveal that the Black Cat knows their secret and has been blackmailing them to send notes. This is part of why the Black Cat has been so successful. It's genius. I love this plot twist so much. And there you have it, fellow detectives, the top 10 best plot twists in the Nancy Drew series according to yours truly. But what do you think? Do you agree with my list? Are there any other plot twists that you would have included in the top 10? What makes for a good plot twist? Let a Wizard Kitten know in the comments section down below. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button or tipping me for the video with a super thanks next to the download button right beneath the video. If you would like to come join a fantastic group of fellow detectives at Mystique Manor as a patron for the channel, gain access to exclusive content, and support the making of more content like this, please check out patreon.com/wizardkitten. I also have channel memberships with exclusive badges and emojis to use during streams and in the comment section. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming an official fellow detective, click join next to the subscribe button. Please feel free to follow the channel on Instagram or Discord, linked in the description box down below. And as always, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Nancy Drew and Cozy Game content. Thank you so much for watching, fellow detectives. I will see you soon.